Good evening, it is 8 PM, it's UK time, I'm Elliot Upton, this is at UP Fitness Live and this is our live feed. You're going to have to forgive me with my heavily bloodshot eyes. I'm extraordinarily tired today, but I'm here as always to answer your questions on all things fitness, myth bust. I'm going to blow through smoke mirrors, all of the usual things that you hear me say at the beginning of every single one of these. Talk about our own programs, Live Up, our one-to-one programs within gyms, our one-to-one online programs and the differences between them all, our supplements line, our gyms, upcoming opportunities for employment, you name it, I'm here to try and cover it. As always, this is covered for YouTube as well. So YouTube, if you are watching this in the second chance, do feel free to put your comments in the question box below and I will answer them as well. Also, anything that we discuss on this will be in the description box below this video, so don't forget to check them out. I'm gonna scan back through just in case I've missed anything. We got lots of regulars coming in. Mozilla, what's up? Teen, Teen, one of my oldest awesome friends. Andrew Willett, one of my champs from Live Up. Emily, Carly, Joe, Alice, loads of you coming in. Awesome. As I say, super tired. I don't know if you can see from there, my eyes are super bloodshot, trying to close. So if I'm a little bit real, Scott Mills, nice to see you. I hope your training in the UK went well. I heard lots about it, so I'm glad that you got through that. I was actually listening to you on the radio today as well on my way back from the gym. I'm extraordinarily tired, so if my brain works slightly slower than usual, because obviously I'm always so fast and razor sharp, do forgive me for that, but feel free. Right, who's going to take my question virginity today? I'm ready for someone to come at me with something challenging. Hey Kaylee. Kaylee, one of our newest one-to-one online sign-ups. I hope you're not too nervous, Kaylee. You've been allocated to trainer Simon. I did that myself. I know he's going to be a brilliant match for you, so have confidence, ease yourself into it, enjoy it more than anything else, and remember to get on the live forums where you have access to both myself and all of the trainers there, and everybody else that's doing that. Scott Mills, where am I based? I'm a bit of a UP nomad. I'm a bit of everywhere. I spend a good bit of time in London. I spend quite a lot of time in Manchester. I'll be in Manchester loads this year. I spend the majority of my time out in Marbella. I'm out in Dubai a lot as well, so I travel around a bit. I'm a bit of a UP mongrel, bit of everywhere, a little bit of a mix of everything. Train, any suggestions on protocols for jet lag? I have a client who's a flight attendant. Yes, Nick actually put up a post a while ago. I can't remember what it was exactly, but Nick put a post up a while ago with his stack for jet lag, something he uses when he travels a lot. When he's doing the UP World Tours, he's checking up on all the gyms, he pops around. So go over to Nick's profile and just scan through that. If you can't find that, send me a direct message, Elliot Upton, to my profile and I'll answer it afterwards with specifics. I'll answer that, but do try and put a bit of effort in first and go find Nick's post because it was a good one and it gives you exactly what he uses. Salim, have you ever used the Theragun? Would you recommend it? I actually haven't used the Theragun, but I probably would recommend it. So what I've got at home and what I've had for years is actually a percussion massager that gets used on race horses, which I've used for probably 5 or 10 years and they are absolutely phenomenal. So Theragun, yes, I probably would suggest using them. It's essentially just foam rolling. It's giving yourself a massage, which is very beneficial. For those of you out there who aren't scared of training legs, you do a lot of squatting, deadlifting, etc. It can be very difficult and painful to get the tension out of the lateral portion of the quad, which can cause some knee pain, radiating knee pain during the day, but also while you're squatting. So it's very much worth getting hold of something along those lines. You don't necessarily have to spend a fortune on a Theragun, but certainly foam rolling massage is going to be very beneficial. If you're lucky enough to be able to afford something like a Theragun, then yeah, I would recommend it, absolutely. I'm sure, Scott Mills, at some point I will see you. I'm looking forward to meeting you. As I say, when I've met the team, spoke to Mr. Sean Murphy, spoke to the boys and girls up in Manchester, I've heard about your progress. I really want to meet you at some point and have always loved your work on the radio. So thank you for that. Thank you for being a pleasure to my ears. Thanks, Elliot. Just going through the initial steps with Simon before I start. Crapping it now, but super excited to see what I can do. Don't stress it at all, Kaylee. You're going to be absolutely awesome. You're going to love it. You're going to enjoy it. And most of all, you're going to get amazing results. Remember to kind of take everything in your stride. It's an education as much as it is a transformation. So make sure you take with you all of the information that he gives you so you know how to get the best out of yourself long term, which is very important. Trainer J, awesome. Tiger Fit, do you have any experience before applying for UP or a rookie? I did personally. I'd been PTing for about 3 or 4 years before I started at UP, before I went up to meet Nick. But by the way, Nick Mitchell's birthday today. Our creator, our God, it is his birthday today. It's like 38 or something, don't know, 38, that seems about right. his birthday today, so go and wish him happy birthday. I had been training for about 4 years down in Brighton, Fitness First in Brighton by the train station, which is kind of where I learnt my trade. I spent the first 2 odd years of that. I didn't take a weekend off. I did every single course I could possibly do, which ultimately taught me everything I didn't need to know, but it was a great learning experience. So yeah, I was quite well educated. I had a list of certifications longer than my arm by the time I started at UP, but you don't need it. What we are looking for at UP, if you're out there looking at the business from the outside and thinking, do you know what, I really want to work as part of UP, then just be the right person. Have integrity, have values, have morals, have dignity, be honest, be hardworking. If you have those values as a person, then you'll fit right into the UP family. If you don't have those values as a person, you won't fit in your time, even if you are successful, will be limited. You know, these are things that are in short supply in the fitness industry, and if you want to be successful, whether on your own or within UP, they are things you need. It's not so much about what you know, it's about who you are, because we can teach you within the first 3 to 6 months as a UP trainer, you're going to have learned more than you would in 10 years, excuse me, as a trainer outside of UP. Anito, evening. Gym done, food in hand. I wondered what it was there. And Elliot time. Damn right, Elliot time. Hashtag Elliot time. I think we should make that trend. Everybody hashtag Elliot time when you're getting people on these live feeds. I do like that a lot. What was the one that came up on the forum a while ago, Anito? It was something like Yoda something or other. I really like that. It was a massive ego boost. Good fun. And who doesn't like an ego boost? What have we got? What have we got? Salim, no problem at all. More of you coming in. Jasminda, I'm having trouble activating my glutes in the gym. Hip thrusts are the only thing that work. Have you got any tips on what I can do? Number 1, activating your glutes. It's a term that I guess you're using quite loosely. What maybe you're thinking is you can't really feel your glutes in most movements other than a hip thrust. They could quite possibly be very, very active. Do basic activations like clamshells before you start. Hip thrusts are they're a relatively isolating compound on glute movements. So you are going to feel them. You're not necessarily going to feel your glutes in a squat. You're not necessarily going to feel your glutes in a deadlift because there is too much load, too much tension, and there are too many synergistic activities going on, too many other muscles doing what they are supposed to do to perform that movement. So just because you can't feel something working, especially on these big lifts, bench presses, deadlifts, squats, doesn't mean it's not working. So don't stress too much about that. Oh, I'm full of cold as well, so if you if you hear me sniffling and coughing, do please forgive me. Tiger Fit, definitely right, appreciate, no problem, Tiger. That's what I'm here for. Trainer J, what do you think about Mount Fisher? Charles says 1 gram per 1% body fat, and some specialists say 5 to 15, depending on person. Trainer J, I've found that it works. The fact of the matter is, if you're taking a high dose of omega-3 fish oils, it's going to bring down inflammation. Now, it's a pretty safe bet to say that the majority of people out there are inflamed. If they are fat, they are almost certainly inflamed because their body is not working optimally. So I have found visible and physical differences from giving high dose fish oil. So what I would do, for the most part, 1 gram per percent body fat, not necessarily. What I will do, if I have someone heavily overweight and someone that I know to be very inflamed, I will suggest between 10 and 15 grams for a period of time. Now, when I can see an effect in their body dropping fat rapidly, I will drop that down to about 5 grams per day maintenance dose. For instance, on the Live Up plan, which I run and have written, it's a 5 gram per day maintenance dose. So what you have to remember with a lot of the stuff that Charles said, Charles was a great man, incredibly intelligent, and he always put things in context. The problem is stuff is taken out of context. It's very, very difficult in the real world to get a client who has a job, who has kids, who has other stuff going on, to take 50 or 60 different capsules per day. It's very, very hard. So don't hang too much on the things that he said, because they were in a perfect world. He was training athletes, he was training people who were paid to do what he asked them to do. You know, it's very, very different if you're paid as an accountant and you're a mother of 3 people trying to take, you know, spending 2 hours a day sorting out your supplements and doing this, that and the other may not be appropriate. So the stuff he said was based in a lot of research in the gym, and eventually when the rest of the world caught up with him in laboratories. But it does work, but is it applicable in the real world? Sometimes, not necessarily, so do take it with a pinch of salt. Fan, is there any workshop seminar this month in the UK? I don't believe there is in the UK. I will be running a few soon in London and Manchester, but they will be coming in the new year. Ellie Yoda, that was the one, Robbie. You got it, yeah. Hashtag Ellie Yoda and Elliot time, I like it. How do you rate fitness programs like Insanity? Shilps, it's difficult because they're dangerous, essentially. This is my opinion, not the opinion of UP. They are dangerous because high-intensity interval training needs to be used correctly. It's incredibly aggressive, incredibly damaging to the joints, the wrists, the ankles, the knees, the back. It needs to be used in a controlled fashion alongside a stability enforcing weight training program. The problem with things like Insanity or Joe Wicks or any of these people who ask you to train at home, Kayla Ritzien's, is it's all very, very explosive movements, which, yes, it's going to create some kind of energy deficit, it's going to create some kind of muscle activity, which is beneficial, absolutely. However, there is a bigger picture at play. There are stress hormones, there is impact, there are potential for stress fractures on bones. These things have got people off their ass, which is the main thing. They've got them off their sofa, but they are also causing injury. So they need to be monitored and used very, very carefully. Ultimately, if your other option is to sit on the sofa and do absolutely nothing, then they're great. If the other option is weight training, then they are absolutely terrible. Sassy, what's up? Emrix, when I use a 4010 tempo by about 5 reps, I feel pain in my elbows and knees, dependent on the exercise. Is reducing the weight the solution? No, that sounds to me like you've got massive inflammation and potentially some serious muscle tightness that needs to be addressed. So taking the weight down may be beneficial, but it depends on how you're finding the kind of RPE on that weight. Is it causing acute pain in the elbows and knees and the joints in general, but is it actually quite easy to lift, or is it extremely difficult to lift and making you lift badly? Andrew 45, you recently recommended compound sessions. Should I add some HIT? And if so, how many times per week? HIT is always something that, let's say you're training 3 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, which is adequate for most people. 2 short 10 to 20 minute HIT sessions is more than enough. You don't want to be doing any more high impact training than that, because it's going to damage the joints. It's going to leave you with a few problems further down the line. Even if it's not immediate, your fascia in your feet is going to tighten up, and that's going to cause knock-on effects to your knees, your hips. The impact itself on your knees is going to be massive. Impact on your hips is going to be massive. If you're doing anything like burpees, etc., it can be extremely aggressive on the wrist, and a lot of you will start finding you get pain in there. There'll be a lot of you out there who've done these types of programs, these high-intensity interval training programs, and you're sitting there saying, yeah, I felt that. Ooh, yeah, I felt that as well. Oh, and that. Yep. Jasminda, thanks for the reply. Also been having massive chocolate and sugar cravings over the last 2 weeks. Could this mean I'm deficient in anything? What's the best way to stop myself caving in? It could mean that you've taken away too many carbs, Jasminda. You may want to increase the clean carb intake in your diet. How important are the number of steps you do in a day for body composition? Awesomely important, incredibly important. If you are not getting that non-exercise energy expenditure done, you're going to really struggle. You've got to bear in mind, let's say 10,000 steps. Now, for most people, 10,000 steps is going to be about 4 to 5 miles, let's say. Unless you're absolutely tiny, unless you're 4'4", it's going to be about 4 to 5 miles. Now, per mile, the majority of you out there are going to be burning between 75 and 100 calories. So if you have done your steps, that's an extra 500 calorie burn per day. That's at least a meal, maybe 2 meals worth. So are they important? Absolutely, absolutely. If you were at calorie maintenance, if you were eating calorie maintenance and doing nothing else, everything was at maintenance, but you did your 10,000 steps per day, you would lose 2 pounds per week. You know, 1 to 2 pounds per week. So yes, it's incredibly important. MJ Rich, long time no see. It has been a while, hasn't it? Katia, hello. DMC, why is James Smith PT such an uninformed media clown? You're going to be referring to this whole fiasco today. Unfortunately, this is the curse of social media. Now, I actually had a bit of a soft spot for James Smith because he's funny, you know, he's a showman more than anything else, you know, he's a typical Instagram/YouTube showman, which is fine, it's fair enough, you know, it's a skill that some people have and why not make the most of it. However, he's not going to win any prizes for being a great coach, he's not going to win any prizes for his knowledge, but that was always just by the by. I didn't mind him because 50% of the time what he says is bang on the truth, and he's not afraid to just say it how it is and call people out. However, he's a relative one-trick pony in that his whole thing is calories in, calories out, when he doesn't quite understand what goes on beyond that, which is fine, it's fair enough, you know, he still is probably going to be a relatively good personal trainer, but he needs to see the bigger picture in some of the things that he claims, which unfortunately he doesn't do. But herein lies the problem with social media. So James Smith, if you ever get to watch this, I like you, man. You know, some of the stuff you said is cool, but you need to start thinking a little bit bigger before you start making these claims. I know it gets you publicity, I know it makes you money, but have a think about some of the stuff you say before you say it, especially when it comes to attacking 3 completely innocent women who put their heart, soul, and all of the effort they could into changing their lives and flipping it on their head. So, shame. Silky, can the UP Women's Online Plan help from aiming to do a physique contest? Number one, I advise you strongly, me personally, not UP, I advise you strongly not to do a women's physique contest. I could sit here and spend the next hour telling you why they are terrible for your body and mind, but I won't. Number two, one-to-one online, yes, potentially. Live up, absolutely not, because I have such a problem with fitness competitors and the whole fitness competition world that I would actively not allow you to do it. Rix, do you think fat loss is simply about calories in versus calories out? I literally just touched upon that. Do you believe stress levels, hormone imbalance play a part as well? Absolutely. Ultimately, calories are king. However, within that, there are unbelievable numbers of variables. And this is what I say when I say that James Smith doesn't really understand the rest of it. It seems. He may indeed, but he certainly looks like he doesn't know what goes on past calories and how that can be affected. So calories are ultimately king, but within that, the amount of variables that can affect the amount of calories you can take in, what you can absorb, and how to manipulate the body to get the best out of it. You know, he made a claim yesterday, he did a bit of a live feed, and one of the things he made a claim about was that you can't get in shape whilst increasing performance. Now, I mean, anyone on the Live Up plan, do please chime in here and let me know how your progress and performance has improved while your body composition has improved. But also every single UP client in the history of UP whose performance has improved whilst getting them in shape. So yeah, calories are ultimately king, but there is a much broader spectrum of things going on there. Using the assault bike for intervals, what RPM should I try to reach? Right now I'm just near dead breathing while doing it. I would suggest, you know, a good target's probably about 75 to 100. How to know what body fat percentage you are in? Get it tested. Sam, Katie, Ginny, what's up? Charith, good morning from Sydney. Good morning, Charith. How is your first week on online training going? Has everything gone okay? Has everything been set up? Shops, thanks for your thoughts. Is it realistic to expect you can get your abs back after having a baby? Absolutely, yes, if you had them before. Bearing in mind that they weren't that great before, and potentially, what you have to remember with a lot of females is that you don't have the muscle thickness, you don't have the muscle density to look like you have big, full, rounded muscles like men. The same applies to abs, it's especially true for abs. In order for a female to get abs, she has to be extremely lean, extremely lean. You know, it's one of those things. Some of you are going to be able to get them with relative ease. Some of you, it's going to be a major battle, and it's going to test every bit of commitment you have. But if you want to get down there, of course, we can help you get down there. DMC training, well said, mate. I agree. I was a fan until today. Yeah, it's a shame, man. You know, because he's the fitness industry in general, especially on social media. 99% of the fitness industry talk 95% bullshit. Simple as that. They just lie through their teeth to sell people to the consumer. Why? Because the consumer is desperate to change. The consumer feels shit about themselves. The consumer doesn't have confidence, so they will clutch in desperation at whatever anyone sells that kind of sounds good. What I liked about James Smith is that, number one, he called these people out, and number two, instead of only talking 5% truth, he talked at least 50% truth, which was good, and I've got a bit of respect for that. But in recent posts, some of the stuff, he's just shown a lack of knowledge, he's shown a lack of experience more than anything, he's shown a lack of ability in his chosen profession. Now, obviously, I think his chosen profession is more becoming a social media star rather than a coach, where I don't think the two had to be mutually exclusive, but apparently it seems they do, that he's foregone any experience or intelligence he has towards coaching, and it's now thrown straight at just controversy and getting followers, which, whatever. You know, it's a shame, because I liked him. Any tips on training for the London Marathon? Look after your knees, massively look after your knees, and have a good therapist on hand. Take a lot of curcumin because you're going to be hurting. Weight train because it's going to make you stronger. The ability to hold a position much longer is going to make you a better runner. So make sure you're weight training. You know, get yourself strong and everything else will work slightly better. Kingsley Dutton, hit a 170 kilo deadlift for 6 1 week out from my shoot. Clearly can't increase performance while dieting. There we go. Kingsley Dutton, one of our champion trainers there, showing and proving exactly what that statement meant. You know, the guy clearly hasn't got the experience to make claims like that. Physique and performance definitely up since joining Live Up. There we go. Getting in shape whilst improving performance. Weird that. I've always got stronger when I improve my body composition. I hit a 200 kilogram bench at one of my leanest body fats. There we go. Another one. The difference is, just in case, again, you get to watch this, James, difference is that some people know how to coach people into performance whilst maximizing body composition. Just because you can't doesn't mean you need to attack other people and make claims like that. Is getting six-pack abs possible on the UP Women plan? Absolutely, yes. I could send you multiple photos of women who's got six-pack abs. I finished my 12-week transformation about 3 weeks ago with UP Cheshire. Not a member of a gym, but have a set of weights, bench, etc. at home. Best exercise to train back with equipment I have. FLC, best bet is going to be, you know, just for some visual help, go over to my YouTube channel at Elliot Upton and look for the workouts with just barbells and dumbbells. I did a series of workouts for you guys, which were basically just to help you train while you're on holiday or while you're abroad or while you're on a business trip. If you're in a gym with limited equipment or you don't have a fully equipped gym, i.e. you have barbells and dumbbells at home, if you go over there and check that out, that's my YouTube page, Elliot Upton. You'll see those videos on there. It'll show you exactly how to train. It's full programs, exactly how to train with limited equipment. I've been thinking about joining UP. Is it possible for you guys to tailor a vegan diet? Absolutely, yes. Live It is on our one-to-one training, one-to-one in gym or one-to-one online. It absolutely is. One of the trainers who is a specialist in that has actually just been on this chat. Silky, you're welcome. Sarah, booked a session at UP Manchester tomorrow. Really excited. Awesome, you're going to love it. Make sure you get a good early night tonight. Make sure you stay hydrated because your muscles are going to take a bit of a kicking. And make sure you plan a nice big meal for when you've finished. Do you know if UP Cheshire are still recruiting? Beth, we are always recruiting everywhere. So get on the website, upfitness.com, and send in your CV speculatively. We are growing at a rate quicker than we can keep up with at the moment because we can't supply trainers to the gyms fast enough. So yes, absolutely. Do I think it's possible? Trader Jay, what did I miss there? I've obviously missed something. If you ask a question like that, try and keep it in one place. Otherwise, I've got no idea what you said. HRV, loving the Live Up plan. The community and support from you is great. Definitely don't agree that performance decreases. I feel I have way more energy. Already looking forward to the next few months. There we go. And that is that's the lowest cost version of anything UP. £50 per month. Thank you for that, HRV. Vibe Style, do you need to drop carbs very low levels to improve insulin sensitivity? Vibe, it can help. Yes, it can help. Also supplement with things like berberine, obviously weight train to use the fuel and get your muscles more sensitive to it. It can help. FLC, thanks Elliot, absolutely love training with UP. Awesome, that's what I like to hear. Love training at UP City, sign up for another 6 weeks today. Hedgie, like that, or Heddy G rather than Hedgie. Beth McIlroy, you're welcome. Do you check clients' blood pressure and glucose level? Trainer Jay, we will check blood pressure, yes, and glucose level potentially if we needed to. For instance, diabetic clients or people that we know may have problems with that or something shows up on a PAR-Q, then yes, we could potentially get that tested. Would we do it immediately as you walk through the door, irrelevant of whether we thought you needed it? Not necessarily. Lauren, does it make a difference to your progress if you eat your post-workout meal past 8 AM, especially if you're trying to stay lean and build muscle? It depends when you train, Lauren. Say if you trained at 6 and then you're eating your, you finish at 7, half 7, then you eat your post-workout meal. No, absolutely not. It won't make the blindest bit of difference. Obviously, if you're eating a really, really, really carb-heavy meal 10 hours after you've trained, if you train at 6 o'clock in the morning and then you eat 300 grams of carbs for your 5 o'clock meal, that may have a slightly different effect because you're not necessarily going to draw those nutrients into the muscle cell. But certainly if you're training in the evening and you're eating your last big meal at 8, absolutely not. It's going to do nothing but good for you. Right, there's no questions here, so stay tuned. I'm just going to quickly run and get a glass of water because my mouth is dry. I'm still here. Keep an eye out for me. I'm still around. Still around. Oh, there we go. Glass of water. Remember, stay hydrated. Remember, folks, it's important. Water's so good when you're like deadly thirsty, when you're really struggling. It's the best. Best view of the evening, yeah. Opinion on taking taurine post-workout? I don't really necessarily have one, to be honest. Elliot, first word that comes to mind if I say vegan, meat. Lauren, you're welcome. Not a problem at all. Come on, folks, we've got 47 of you in here, and I've got ahead of the questions already. Are my answers not thorough enough, or are you lot just being slow? What have you got for me? I like the little curveball question in there, though, Jax. Nice. Step-ups. Is it possible to use tempo, or is it just a case of 1-1-1? Absolutely, it's possible to use tempo. And what you need to do on step-ups to make sure you get your tempo right is to make sure that the step is set at the right height for your strength. Now, what I find the best way to do this is when you are placing the other foot back down on the ground, do not let the toe hit the floor, because what you'll find is that you will push through your toe and drive upwards from the wrong foot. So set it at a height where you can go up and down without actually putting the toe of the resting foot on the floor at any time. BCAAs, how many grams a day? It doesn't necessarily matter how many grams per day. I would suggest if you're taking something like that, BCAAs, you can take it during your training session about 5 to 15 grams, depending on whether you're male or female. Say 10 grams is a good ballpark. Do you need to take a take out a post-workout meal? What do you mean, take out a post-workout meal? Taurine is very, very good for vasodilation. It can help reduce blood pressure. It can help offset various other things. So post-workout specifically, again, it's not something I've ever added. So let's say maybe, based on its actions, maybe it could deliver nutrients to the muscle cells quicker, improve recovery speed and refuel time. That's me speculating, that's not me giving you fact though. FLC, best time of the day to take Ultramag, about 30 to 40 minutes before you go to sleep at night. That's the best time to take Ultramag. Magnesium is a phenomenal supplement that stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, so it actually helps the body to shut itself down and fall into a restful sleep. If you're taking things like that during the day, it's not necessarily going to make you sluggish, it's just not optimal. Whereas if you take magnesium at night, especially if you have sleep problems, you suffer from any type of insomnia, you get a racing mind or a restless body, then take magnesium at night before you go to bed. Eero, 10,000 steps per day. Can they be in small walks during the day? As long as you do 10,000 steps, they can be however you want. Ricky Doodle, smashing it this week, boss. Step up, calories down, workouts done, water intake absolutely key. Lost 4.5 kilograms this week. Anyone thinking about live up, just do it. Smashing that, Ricky Doodles. That is what I want. Check-in days are absolutely flawless at the moment. You know, we've had, even on the days where we've got low compliance, some of the transformations, some of the results that are coming in from the Live Up Plan are absolutely phenomenal. So if any of my guys and girls from the Live Up Plan are on here watching this, thank you. You're absolutely smashing it. You all know how many hours that I put into that, so it's nice to see on the other side of it the effort that you guys are putting in. So thank you very much for that. I have a rheumatoid factor which is causing swelling and painful Achilles. Anything you recommend I take? Anti-inflammatory foods or supplements? Number one, don't eat inflammatory foods, i.e. junk foods, processed foods, etc. That would be the first thing, take them out. Curcumin can be really, really useful for pain relief and bringing down inflammation. So go onto our website and look for Longvida Curcumin. Also, omega-3 fish oils, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant for connective tissue and for bringing down inflammation. So get over there and check them out. Nick, I hate barbell squats. Am I okay doing a range of alternative squats? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Listen, squatting is an amazing thing, and it's something I think that someone should be able to do, because by being able to do it, it shows that you move correctly, it shows that your body works well together, it can perform the more technical, more demanding movements. And of course, if you can squat and deadlift, you're going to get the biggest calorie burn, you're going to get the biggest results. If you can't though, it's not the end of the world. You can use variations like split squats, lunge variations, front squats, you know, goblet squats, you name it. Have a little throw around, because not all of us are built the same. Some of you out there, especially females, this is especially true for females, back squatting is not the one because of the way you are mechanically set up, the length of your legs versus your torso, for instance. You are not designed to squat safely. So if you can't squat or you feel pain squatting, then don't squat. It's not a problem. Why does magnesium give you weird dreams? I stopped taking them just because of that. It's because of the state of sleep it can help put you in. It puts you in a very, very deep sleep and you come in and out your sleep cycles. But, you know, it's something that I would highly recommend taking because it's going to help with various things in your body, you know, keeping your mineral balance, neurotransmitters, etc. working the way they need to work. Cara Knight, what's the best recommended exercise to increase weight loss when you've hit a plateau and can't seem to drop any more weight? Cara Knight, that's a bit of an open-ended question because the best type of exercise to get past the plateau is exercise. What have you been doing, for instance? If you haven't been squatting, deadlifting, pull-ups, bench press, etc., then start doing them because the bigger the movement, the more taxing the movement, the more calories it's going to burn, the more adaptation and quicker adaptation it's going to force. Left 1-to-1 a few weeks ago, but continuing with the training and macros. I'm leaving for a month trekking in 4 weeks. Do I up my carbs now already? Just keep my macros till the last moment. What I would start doing, Sarah, the goal would be to almost reverse diet yourself. So gradually, week on week, start increasing your calorie intake and potentially carb intake based on what's happening with your body. So if you see yourself start to soften up, then just hold the calories there until you get leaner again. Just gradually, let's say add 100 calories a week until you hit the point where you know your caloric maintenance to be. And at that point is where you are going to start softening. HRV, is there a way you recommend cooking vegetables not to lose nutrients, or does it not matter? You know, steam them if you can. Steam's always good. As close to raw as possible, so lightly steamed. Thanks for your info on squats. I've got good technique, but I'm struggling to make progress and weight, and I enjoy a variation of other types of squats. No problem, Nick. Farhad, is the Fat Loss Bootcamp still available? I'm not sure what the name of the service is called. I think it had something to do with the forums. There is no Fat Loss Bootcamp per se at the moment. Obviously, you have the Live Up online personal training scheme, which is all run via the forums. But that is not a physical bootcamp at the moment. We will be doing seminars next year, which will be physically, you'll be there with me, but right now there are no boot camps. We do group exercise in a lot of our gyms though, so our Manchester gyms, I think London gyms are restarting it very soon, obviously Marbella, Hong Kong, Dubai, etc. So they are there. If you're near one of our gyms geographically, you can pop out to them. Difference between front raised split squat and rear foot raised split squat. Predominantly which muscles are being used. So on a front foot you'll find that you'll fire the quad on the front leg a lot better, and it's also a limited range of motion, so people who have poor hip mobility, they're going to be able to start better with a front foot elevated and then progress to a rear foot elevated, which is going to load the glute a little bit more in the front leg but also extend the knee and the hip on the back leg a lot more, so it's actually a progression. What's the best alternative for women instead of squats then? Thanks. Usually front squats. If a girl can front squat or goblet squat, they're going to be the better options because it loads, because the load is a few inches further forward, it allows the body to sit more upright, which is very, very useful, and it stops you from loading the back unnecessarily. Alternatively, rear foot elevated split squats. Amazing, amazing exercise, and one I use all of the time in the Live Up plan. Do you need to take post-workout meal, or can you get until your dinner time? I would suggest taking a post-workout meal. Any new UP books at Christmas and New Year? At the moment, there are none due to come out. Obviously, we have the remaining books from the 4-part series that some of you have already got at the moment. The Principles of Muscle Building and the Meal Plan books. We also have a supplement book coming out. We have a vegan diet and supplements and vegan diet and female training specific books on their way, but they are a way off yet. So don't hold your breath on them, but they are coming. What's your video on tempo a few weeks ago? Ouch, definitely made a difference. Good, good, good. Well done for watching it and action in it. Thank you. Oh, my nose is so blocked. I did my first deadlift some weeks ago, which left me walking on a 45 degree because my back was in excruciating pain. I know it's because my form wasn't right. Would you recommend getting a better core? Shireen, more than anything, I would recommend, you know, a deadlift is going to give you a better core than almost any exercise you'll ever do. I would recommend you get someone to check your form and help you get it right more than anything. Your secret to give your clients motivation. Trainer Jay, motivation doesn't come from me. Anyone out there watching this, I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to take a motivated person and give them all of the encouragement and information that they could possibly need to get the best result. But ultimately, Motivation comes from within you. I can lead you to water. I can't make you drink. I can't manipulate your will. This is the key, you know. I think so many people try to find their motivation within someone else, and then when they can't find it, they use that as an excuse to fail, not succeed, or just become a lazy bastard. Ultimately, your motivation is your motivation. It's not mine. Once I know it, and once I know you have it, I can make the most of it. I can remind you of it. I can help you focus on it. I can show you the tools you need to make the most out of that motivation. But it's not mine to give you. So it may not be the answer you wanted, but it's a fact. How much cardio do you recommend on your plans? I recommend, dependent on the person, between 10 and 15,000 steps per day, which, providing you're not a lazy bastard, is quite easy to do. Philly, what sort of modified strongman training for fat loss do you recommend? A separate workout or something to finish your workout? Depends on the client. If you're fairly lean, there's more than enough activity is going to come from an extra 10 minutes at the end of a weight training session. For people who aren't yet lean, I would suggest maybe do 3 weight training sessions and a couple of strongman style HIIT sessions. But if you're already, you know, pretty lean, pretty happy with the way your body looks, adding 10 minutes on the end to 3 or 4 onto the end of 3 or 4 weight training sessions per week is more than enough. Trainer Jay, totally agree with you. Thank you so much for all your answers. You're welcome. Fahad, I think it's called Live Up. Is it still available? It absolutely is. Live Up. Sorry, Fahad. If you go to upfitness.com and click on the menu button in the top left corner as you look at your screen, scroll down to personal online personal training. It will give you the options in there. Rick, should I avoid meals that have high fats and high carbs, for example, mackerel and rice? Not necessarily, no. The only time I suggest people don't have fats with their carbohydrates is post-workout, because it's going to slow down digestion. The rest of the time, for me, it can naturally be beneficial because it's going to reduce the speed of that calorie spike. Oh, sorry, blood sugar spike. Tips for training with a cold. If it's mild, train, and train hard. It can push it out of you. If it is quite heavy, if it's fluey, it's actually draining the energy out of you like mine is now, I'd recommend training either very, very low volume or doing something slightly more relaxing like yoga or Pilates. Are 12-week body transformations realistic and sustainable? Absolutely, 100% yes, providing they're done correctly and providing the client chooses to action them correctly. Now, of course, that is down to the client. We will always teach you exactly how to do things correctly. Unfortunately, what a lot of clients choose to do because of the nature of human beings and our short-term mentality is they think, I'm only going to do this for 12 weeks, then I'm going to revert to what I want. Now, that's something we try to teach them not to do. Ultimately, if you choose to revert to going back and eating pizzas 3 times a week, getting pissed 4 nights a week, eating chocolate, shit and donuts at work, then there's nothing we can do to make that sustainable. That's your choice. However, if you take the lessons that we teach you, absolutely it's sustainable. This is why, you know, on the Live Up plan, for instance, there are people who did that when it was 6 Fit. I wrote that over 3 years ago, and the girls who did that plan initially back then are still as lean as they were after the first 6 to 12 weeks. And it's effortless. It's genuinely effortless, but it's down to how much you choose to do it, how much you want to listen. I am T-Joe, just jumping on to say, love Live Up. Anyone considering doing it, do it. Yes, do it, do it. I'm off to get some more water. Entertain yourselves. And he's back in the room. What makes Simon the best trainer for me? Because he's very, very intelligent. He's very empathetic. I know you were a little bit worried, you were a little bit concerned, you were a little bit nervous, and he's one of the best trainers to be able to keep you calm and settled. You know, he's very good at giving the information that you're going to want to need, the education that you want, and he's going to be able to kind of be that softer shoulder. You know, some of us are slightly more brutal than others, and I think he was exactly what you need. Based on our chats when you're asking me about training, and I know how nervous you are, he's going to fit that bill perfectly for you, I think. Alice Catherine, the ladies on the forum are excellent at keeping each other encouraged and helping with motivation. Love, Live Up. Yes. Cheers, Elliot. Your Q&As are second to none. Never answer like I've asked a stupid question. I really appreciate it. No problem, Ricks. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to try and help where I can. Oh, my throat hurts when I swallow. I've got the worst flu in the world. This is not good. Suggestions for when weight loss plateaus. Been stuck at same weight for a few weeks despite training and eating well. Joe Howard, it depends. You know, you need to look at your calories. If you've been losing weight, potentially your metabolism is actually slightly slower now, or faster, depending on how you've done things. Have you been doing lots of cardio? Potentially it's going to be slower. You may need to reduce calories. Have you been doing lots of weight training and increased your strength and performance? You may actually need more calories to continue fat loss. So there's quite a broad spectrum of answers there. What you've been doing specifically is going to dictate, what you've been doing specifically up until this point is going to dictate your options as to how to get past that plateau. Grr, my network cut out the moment you answered my question. Hopefully this is archived. Thanks. Yeah, you can watch it immediately after forever, and it's also over on YouTube. You can see it on my channel on YouTube indefinitely. I usually put them up within about 3 or 4 days, depending on how fast my internet can load them up. Where I am, usually that takes at least 16 to 24 hours. I know, ridiculous, but they are there for you to go back and use as a resource whenever. Kaylee, and I hope you feel better soon. Me too, I really do. I don't like getting ill. It's very rare that I get ill, but I think for me at the moment, it's just an absolute lack of sleep and moving around a bit too much. For anyone joining in late, I've got big bloodshot eyes, but don't worry, I'm not on drugs or anything. It's just tiredness. But there is a lesson in that. Look after your sleep. If you're not sleeping correctly, you will get ill. If you're not sleeping correctly, you will not lose fat. If you are not sleeping correctly, you will not gain proper muscle. If you are not sleeping correctly, you will not be productive at work, at play. You will not be in the right state of mind for your family. Sleep is extraordinarily important. We are in a society now where we think it's cool to sleep when you're dead and all of these things. And yeah, you know, the 4 a.m. grind, the 3 a.m. grind. When that's necessary, maybe. Sometimes I've had to work through the night, but it's very, very rare that I will make myself do that unless it's absolutely necessary. If you are well rested, if you are well slept, and your brain is working, your cognitive ability is high, you're going to get more done. So remember, sleep is very, very important. Wolfstalker, how to sleep properly. I can never sleep well on any type of calorie deficit. Then, Wolfstalker, your calorie deficit is too great. Shorten it. One of the things you've got to remember about calorie deficits is that so many of you try to go into such a big calorie deficit that your energy expenditure goes down because you get fatigued and lazy. Now, put it this way. Let's say you take 1,000 calories off your maintenance, okay? Because in your brain, you're like, do you know what? I want to lose fat really, 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 really fast. But in doing so, you do 1,000 calories less activity because you don't train as hard, you don't move as much, you don't get up as early because your energy is shit. Would it not be better to make a 500 calorie deficit but still have the energy to give 1,000 calories worth of extra exercise? To get up 2 hours earlier, to do 5,000 extra steps because you have the energy in the right state of mind to do it, to get into the gym, and instead of, you know, just throwing weights around, you get in with intensity and you do what you need to do. For me, it makes more sense to create a smaller dietary deficit to give you the energy and the performance to create a greater output. Think about that. Matt Cam, seems to be getting the shakes in the legs when doing leg extensions and dumbbell lunges. Why would this happen? Hard to say. It could be neural fatigue. Difficult one that. Difficult one that. If you are, when you say the shakes, do you mean like weak, or as in you're almost needing to fall over, or it's just shaking? If it's just shaking, it's likely to just be neural stimulation. It happens quite a lot. I get it in my calves. Would you say diets like keto is a form of deprivation? Absolutely, yes, I would. Diets like that are unsustainable. I don't necessarily think they're that effective for body composition either. Something like keto can be very, very useful for medical reasons, but in general, it's something I'd highly recommend you stay well clear of when trying to get in shape. I know not to get to bed hungry. Eat a small stack, always sleep better. There we go. Hi Elliot, what is the reason for recommending gluten-free food for getting lean? Is it digestion related? Does probiotics and digestive enzymes play a part? How to take probiotics if needed? So gluten is just one of those things. Not everyone has an issue with it, but a vast majority of people do. So it's worth not taking it. You know, it's kind of, you're not necessarily going to get robbed, but it's worth locking your door anyway. So one of those things, it's prevention is the best cure. it attacks the gut lining. When you're attacking the gut lining, if you end up with what is essentially like a leaky gut, imagine your gut is like a filter. It allows certain things through, but keeps bad shit out. When you have a damaged gut, it starts letting the bad shit in as well, and that's gonna kind of, your body's essentially being poisoned. It has toxins, it has foreign bodies in the bloodstream, which it doesn't want. Your body then has an immune response and it will fight that to try and get it out. While it's doing that, you're not going to be making progress elsewhere. The same applies with the microbiome in your gut, the bacteria, etc. That needs to be balanced. You need to have enough good soldiers to keep out an attacking army of bad soldiers. If you don't have that, eventually the bad soldiers take over and shit starts to hit the fan. What do you recommend if struggling with hunger in the mornings for breakfast and more hungry in the afternoon? A, don't skip breakfast, because I know that's probably what you're asking me to tell you to do. It's not necessarily going to do you any bad, but it's also not necessarily going to do you any good. If you're hungry in the afternoon, just leave the bigger meals till later in the day. Have something small, you know, snack in the morning, but eat bigger meals in the afternoon. Just shaking normally during the lowering phase of exercise. Yeah, so all that is, Matt Cam, it's basically just a neural thing. It's the innervation of the muscles. Now, I get the same thing when I'm doing calf raises. I get a bit of a shake on the eccentric. Even if I sit here now and I try to lower my foot steadily, that eccentric movement shakes a little bit. It just judders. It's just a neural thing. I don't think it's anything to worry about at all. Karen L. Fryer, am I okay to go into the UP gym in Manchester City Centre to buy some supplements, even if I'm not training there? Absolutely, Karen. Yes, you are, of course. I'm regretting not having bigger glasses. I used to be a lot leaner. I changed jobs, started eating less, especially carbs. I continue training hard, but I haven't ever been as lean since. Will increasing my calories now and live up help again? Absolutely, yes. You've just answered your own question there, essentially. You started under-eating and probably overtraining. You couldn't recover anymore, so your body just started catabolizing itself. Your metabolism slowed itself down. There's still plenty of time for training, but will I get enough sleep? I'm not really sure how to answer that. Will you get enough sleep? What do you mean, will you get... How can I know whether you're going to get enough sleep? Come on, folks. We've got 13 minutes remaining. Get all these questions in. I know I can get up at 6 AM every day and hit the gym if I have to. Okay? Remember, folks, training, let's say you train 3 days a week. An hour at a time. That is 3 hours out of a 168-hour week. That gives you an awful lot of time to do everything you need to do, including sleep. So if you turn around and say, I haven't got time to do this, I haven't got time to do that, I haven't got time to the other, with respect, you are full of shit. You've got time. You just don't prioritize it. Flat-packed, six-pack Warren. For many months, I've been experiencing a dull pain just below the kneecap when I press my knee against a hard surface. Any ideas why this might be happening? It could well be a bursa. Worth checking. Is there like a little lump, like a little bubbly lump there? Bursas are... What's the best way to describe a bursa? They're like little cushions, fluid-filled sacs that are placed on joints especially, which develop when there is friction or tension. Now this could have come from, you know, excessive tension through the lower leg muscles and the upper leg muscles, causing friction between the skin and certain parts, creating that swelling of the bursa, which could also result, you know, because it's inflamed, when you put pressure on it, that could hurt. It's difficult for me to explain, but if you look at bursa, Google bursas in the knee, and tell me if it's roughly in the same place, and you may find that that's the solution, which just means you've got to start taking careful. Farhad, you say read above, but I can't scan back through hundreds of questions to find your other question. I did have to ask everybody earlier, when you put a question, please make sure it is all in one. I'm not scanning back through 100 questions specifically looking for your question. Unfortunately, it's very, very boring for everybody else when I'm sitting here going, trying to find stuff. Hi, I texted you on Facebook, but you didn't respond. I don't respond to Facebook messages. Do you do any kind of private consults for trainers where I can learn more about your methodology or where you work with clients? We do. I will be doing seminars very, very soon where you can come along and you can spend a weekend with me. I will basically go through... I'll teach you how I work. how I train my clients, how I've always trained my clients, the things that I believe you should be doing to get the best out of your clients. We'll also do some in-gym training time. So best bet is make sure you follow UP, you make sure you follow me, and that will be announced. I don't actually do any consultations anymore because I just don't have the time, but I will be doing these seminars, which will be very useful to all of you. Is it normal for some women, they need to sleep more? Absolutely, yes. We're all different. We're all very, very different. No, 9 hours is enough. If you need that amount, then take that amount. If that's where you feel optimal, ultimately listen to your body, you know. If you're feeling absolutely shit because you've only had 6 hours sleep, it's because you needed more sleep. If you get 8 hours sleep and you feel fantastic, then try to sleep 8 hours. That's not a coincidence. That's your body telling you what it needs. Try to listen to it. The better you can listen to it and action it, the better you're gonna feel. It's not rocket science. Fernando Dominguez Messias. Hello, that's a long old name. What allergy tests do you take? I have stool tests done quite regularly. Last one I got done was a Larisian test ages ago, and it showed that I was intolerant to egg yolks, egg whites, cheese, and almonds, I think. HRV. Thanks for your help. Credit to you. I would have smashed the screen at everyone by now. No. It's what I'm here for, unfortunately. I understand. I'm here to answer questions. But obviously, it's difficult for you folks because you can't. I don't know if you see what I see when I'm doing these, but it makes it really difficult to give you all of this information and make it engaging and interesting. Because remember, all I'm doing is sitting in a hotel room talking to a screen right now. It's quite difficult to keep you guys engaged in what I'm saying. So when I have to scan up and down, it's very, very hard. What's enough sleep? I get 7 to 8 hours during the week and only 3 to 5 hours on weekends due to work. That's not enough sleep, basically. You're going to end up with a sleep debt over the weekend, so you want to be trying to take power naps at least if you can. Is training when fasted recommended? Weight training fasted, no. I would highly recommend you don't do that. Cardio, steady state cardio and HIIT, potentially it could be beneficial, yes. But again, not truly fasted. Take something like our Amplify supplement before and during, which is then it's not technically fasted, but certainly without food, and that for me can be beneficial. What alternatives to eggs do you recommend, or for afternoon snacks? I don't really think there is necessarily a similar alternative to eggs, so I can't really answer that. Where do you recommend to take those allergy tests? You can get them all over the place. I would recommend first and foremost go to your GP. Your GP should be able to do them for you. Jasminda, what water intake should we be trying to hit? For females, 3 to 4 litres as a minimum. For males, 4 to 6 litres as a minimum. So it's females 3 to 4, males 4 to 6. If you train heavy and hard and you sweat a lot, or it's summer, for instance, and you are sweating a lot more, then you may need more. Be aware of that. Keep them coming, keep them coming. We've got 8 minutes left. See, I'm that tired that I can't actually see. Even my vision's going. In a minute, I am going to be on that bed and flat out Sparko after I've checked my emails and after I've started loading this up to YouTube, which usually takes 20 odd hours, which is not good. 6 AM in the morning workout. Is it good to be training, not eating anything before, only a coffee? As I've literally just answered that one, I wouldn't recommend weight training without eating first. Thoughts on TRT? Very, very, very beneficial indeed. Something that majority of men over 30, 35 should potentially be looking into, but obviously always under the supervision of a health professional. YouFit, 50-year-old client, manual job, 7 days a week, constantly dieting, still sloppy around the hips and belly. Can constant diets be detrimental to fat loss, and if so, how and why? Absolutely yes, because if his calories have been too low for too long, his cortisol is likely to be extremely high. If his energy output is extremely high, but his energy intake has been extremely low, the gap between what he is expelling and what he is taking in is far too great. If you find, especially around hips and belly, he's holding on to fat, it could be stress related, it could be insulin sensitivity related, so make sure he's controlling his carbs. And I would potentially there, if you just want what I would look at there, give him more fats. Start taking his calories up 100 calories per week, fats only, and see what happens. You may find after 2 to 4, let's say 3 weeks, give you a ballpark, 3 weeks, he probably starts losing fat around his middle. Lauren Will, what can you do about water retention? First and foremost, drink more water. Secondly, don't eat processed foods. 3, control your estrogen with something like estro support and eat plenty of green vegetables. 4, don't drink too much caffeine. If you're drinking too much caffeine, it's going to dehydrate you massively, and that is going to cause excessive water retention. Reduce salt intake in your diet. That can also have a massive effect on you. Your thoughts on acupuncture? It works. Went to doctors for pain in the back of my neck and they advised this. If you've got a good acupuncture practitioner, it can be extremely useful. It's not necessarily going to say it's going to cure all, but certain things it certainly is useful. And I really like the way Chinese medicine addresses problems. Very, very, very intelligent, and it really works with how the body wants to. So yeah, I rate it. Leonore, hi Leo. When I'm using the incline hyper, I feel numbness in my lower back. What am I doing wrong? Numbness, it's difficult to say. It's numbness or a pump. If you're getting a pump, which I'm thinking you probably do, you may just be feeling it as numbness. That's going to be relatively normal. If it's numbness, legitimate numbness, then that could be a nerve impingement issue, and you may want to go and see a specialist about that. Example of fats you were talking about. Whatever, nuts, avocado, oils. Can you take decaf coffee if water retention also has it affects? Decaf coffee is not caffeine-free coffee. Remember that. It's just lower caffeine coffee. It's still going to have the same effect, just less stimulatory. Best advice when doing 12 weeks at UP. Give it everything you've got. If you go into it with an open mind and accept what it's going to have to take to get a 12-week transformation, work hard and educate yourself. Listen to what is being told to you and how to get things done properly. You will get the most out of it. If you go into it and you are second guessing what your trainer says, you decide you know better, and believe it or not, trust me, 3 out of 5 clients think they know better, then you're not going to get results. So go in, give it everything you've got, go in with an open mind, go in with open arms, accept it, and you will get the best out of it. Remember, it's that old adage, you get out what you put in. It's very, very true. Sparkling water makes drinking water really easy, especially with lemon and lime squeezed in it. I 100% agree. That's exactly what I do. I have bottles and bottles and bottles at my place back in Marbella of sparkling water, and I just squeeze, usually per bottle, 1 big fresh lemon or 1 fresh lime into it, and some mint, which is really, really nice. Add some mint in there as well. Throw some fresh mint in. Phenomenal. Really, really nice way to get your fluids in. We are 3 minutes. Oh, my nose is so blocked. Been using lots of your advice for these lives and feeling great and really enjoying my training. Awesome. I love that. Thank you. Why no milk or milk alternatives? Because of what cows and various farm animals are fed these days. The xenoestrogens in, so basically the toxins is the best way to put that, in dairy products are absolutely enormous, and they are causing horrific problems with our hormonal and digestive health. You know, it's part of the reason that women suffer so badly with PMS. It's part of the reason that women suffer so badly with mood fluctuations. It's part of the reason so many women are now becoming infertile. The same is true for men. You know, it's why our testosterone is getting lower and lower, earlier and earlier. It's why we're getting bitch tits faster. It's why our sex drive is non-existent faster, because of things like this. Go back 20 years and you could get milk from cows who had done nothing but eat fresh, clean grass their entire life. And it was great. It helped us. It was lovely. Now, everything has changed. We have to make so much food so quickly that nothing is truly organic anymore. You know, it doesn't matter where you go, how much you pay for it. Nothing is truly organic. So, you know, you've got to try and do the best with what you have. There are so many alternatives to dairy that it's not necessarily the best choice. It's not really necessary. Lauren Will, starting a transformation now. When's it good? When it's good to be Xmas party season? Good idea. Absolutely yes, because if you're dieting hard and training hard, it's going to offset those 3 or 4 nights where you're probably going to do some silly stuff. So yeah, absolutely. The lovely nanny, thanks. Very excited and slightly terrified to start. Good, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Make sure you get on here every single week and let me know how that goes. Steam room for cold. Unfortunately, I don't have a steam room with me right now, but yeah, maybe. It can certainly, you know, for me, if you've got a steam room with eucalyptus, it's going to help you breathe, certainly. But remember, germs like warm, damp places. Okay, get out somewhere cold and dry. That's my advice if you have a cold. On Live Up, is 3 days at the gym the minimum? It's the maximum, unless you go onto the Specialization phases, which are after your first 12 weeks where you start specializing on particular body parts. We do push it up to 4 if you want to. It is optional if you want to go up to 4, because a lot of people have got that bug now, but 3 is the maximum amount of days I allow you in the gym. Of course, if you choose to do your interval training in the gym, then by all means do it, but I suggest for most people that they do that outside or at home. But yeah, 3 days is that. So I have 54 seconds remaining. Make sure you come in quick fire questions now, so there's going to be no real long answers now. I'm just going to try and knock out the basics. So get them firing in. We've got 45 seconds. Come at me before I have to disappear. Come on, pressure's on, pressure's on, pressure's on. Because as soon as I'm going to go, I feel like I've got razor blades in my throat. I'm going to drink a load of water and then go to sleep. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Who's got me? We have 30 seconds remaining. Get these questions in. What's your bench, squat, and deadlift? My deadlift's 260. My squat now, unfortunately, is about 180 because I ripped my hamstring a while ago. I'm in the middle of rehab. And my bench is 145, 150, I guess. I don't really test 1RMs anymore. 3 days sounds less. Get better soon. Thank you, Mozilla. Go chill. Thanks. Thanks, Boski. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. What have we got? What have we got? We have got 2 and we are out. Gone. Right, so YouTube, that was our UP Fitness live feed. I apologise that I'm ill, coffee, scratchy, probably looking rather tired and dishevelled, but nonetheless, I'm here to answer your questions. If you have been interested in anything we've mentioned today, hit the links in the description box below, and of course leave your own questions in there and I'll try to answer them as best I can in the comments box. Please like this, share it, send it out to anyone that you think may find use for it, and of course if you can, come and join us on the forum itself, or sorry, on the live feed itself. Check out Live Up. It's the #1 transformation program in the world right now, and it's £50 per month, so you can't really miss it. So I will see you next week. Thank you for watching, thank you for joining, and I hope if you've been watching this during your cardio, you got it all done and it got through it a little bit better than normal. So peace out.